I want to ask you about the letter that you all have sent to the sitting FBI director to get a defensive intelligence briefing on what appears you're alleging is an operation, either wittingly or unwittingly, being run by Senator Ron Johnson. What are you trying to learn more about?
Yeah, obviously, Nicole, I can't get into the details of the underlying intelligence, but the letter speaks for itself, and I have seen a lot of the intelligence that the letter is based on. And so what I can tell you is that the leadership, the folks that signed that letter, saw intelligence that was deeply concerning about ongoing efforts to interfere in our election. Sort of a replay, if you will, of what we now know happened in 2016. And it is important for every member of Congress to get that briefing because, as the letter alluded to, we may be subject to the efforts of a foreign country to operate. And even more importantly, the American people need to know what efforts may be being made to manipulate social media, to manipulate politicians, to affect the way they vote. So it's not just Congress getting this defensive briefing. It's actually really important that the American people be fully aware of what's happening out there.
I want to ask you, it's been read out that Donald Trump spoke with Vladimir Putin today. There's been nothing disclosed publicly about Donald Trump saying to Vladimir Putin, hey, if the bounty story that was in my PDB happens to be true, knock it out. Do you worry that trying to understand this stream of intel that Ron Johnson, it would appear, is operationalizing in his committee, maybe sort of going after it too low in the food chain? If Donald Trump doesn't tell Vladimir Putin not to put bounties on the heads of American soldiers, what good does it do if you catch Ron Johnson?
Well, setting aside Ron Johnson, let's talk about Vladimir Putin, right? A very savvy guy, a very sophisticated, kind of deadly reader of the chessboard. And what does he see? Big picture. He sees that he got away with meddling in our 2016 election. And did the United States rise up and won and say, we will protect our democracy? Did the President of the United States say, we will not tolerate this ever again and you will pay a price? No, the President of the United States said, hey, my friend Vlad told me that he didn't do it, and it was a strong denial, so I believe him. That's the President of the United States speaking. Now, these allegations about the Russians putting bounties on the heads of our soldiers in Afghanistan, again, I can't get into the details, but the White House has acknowledged in their statements that there is intelligence. They said, well, it wasn't really super clear. It wasn't corroborated. I think, look, intelligence is never super clear. It's never corroborated. But again, in a normal country where we cared about standing up against people who were either attacking our troops or attacking our democracy, the President of the United States would stand up and tell the American people, and would sure as heck tell Vladimir Putin that I'm not going to share with you this intelligence, but let me just say this. If you are paying people to kill our troops, that is an act of war. We will not tolerate that, and stand by because we are bringing the wrath of God down upon your head. Did you hear Donald Trump say anything that even resembled that kind of a statement, which of course would be a presidential statement? So Vladimir Putin is sitting there today thinking, I can pretty much do whatever I want.
Well, and I guess my last question is, what does that look like? Because I think you're absolutely right. Any normal president of this country, anyone who also has the title of commander-in-chief, says what you just said. So if troops aren't off limits, and again, we don't know what was said privately, but nothing public-facing, which is where Vladimir Putin sort of feels the most shame in a public admonition. But what does that portend, in your view, for the election?
Well, what it portends is that what I just alluded to, which is that Vladimir Putin knows that he can do just about anything and get away with it and convince the President of the United States that he didn't do it. Now, again, Vladimir Putin is a pretty good reader of the chessboard. And if you look at polls, there's a meaningful chance that Donald Trump will not be President of the United States in January of 2021. Vladimir Putin knows that. My guess is he's going to try to avoid that as an outcome, and we should all sort of be cognizant of what he might do to try to avoid that outcome. But of course, if Joe Biden is inaugurated president in January, what I just said about the wrath of God coming down for the misbehavior of the Russians against our troops and against our democracy, Vladimir Putin, I think, knows and should know that accountability will arrive.
It's a really, really, really important story. For my part, I should be talking about it more days of the week. I'm really grateful that you came today and had this conversation with us. Congressman Jim Himes, thank you for spending some time with us.